Well, hello, my fellow barbarians. Um, Here I am today. I just had a quick start here today. Just to wish you have a happy Purim season. All right, supposed to be celebrated. The 13th, 14th, and 15th day of Adar, of the month of Adar, and that's supposed to have been that we're celebrating now. It's interesting that the number 14 is there, the numeric value for David. But this book is a fantastic book. It's the book of Esther, and Esther comes from the Hebrew Hester. Hester means hidden. Okay, so the whole Torah is about God, but God is, reveals Himself in the functionality. All right, so I'm wishing you this. I'm gonna get back to you later on because my son is coming over. So let me just go quickly here to see what we have. Today his birthday, so I'm celebrating here in the house. We're going to order some Cuban food. So let me quickly just go to a different window here to talk to you guys. Here right away. I won't even do the introduction. Let me just skip that. Let me go here. So, you want see me all dressed up. My son's about to come in about 15 minutes. We ordered the Versailles Cuban food. It's gonna be his 23 years. He was born 1998, February 28, 1998. So now 2021 is gonna be 23. Wow, time flies when you're having fun, right? So he's coming over. He's being his girlfriend. His mother's coming. His brother's coming. So we ordered some food. We ordered some food also from Pollo Campero. So we have a little variety of stuff here. So that happening pretty soon. But before he got here, I thought I'd start this. I'm wishing him, the best. He graduates this year, from film school, film and video school at Riverside, UC Riverside. So wish him the best. This is a nice little birthday party, and I got him a little gift for both, for his birthday and also his graduation. I hope he likes it. So when he gets here, you get to see it. So that's what I'm enjoying this. Today is February 28th. I have Hadabarin TV 28, as you see here on the screen below. Right there, HD TV 28, Hadabarin Torah Vaults. And that indicates that Hadabarin means the words, and that's so. And also it starts for Deuteronomy chapter 28. But also today I'm talking about the book of Esther. The book of Esther comes from the book named Hester. The word Hester means hidden. Okay, so you understand the whole Tanakh, the whole Torah is about God. And a lot of people, when you understand that God deals with the functionality. So even because a lot of people are used to the sound of it and not the soundness. When you have soundness, I mean you have something that makes sense, something that's solid, something that is meaningful. And it's not about to, So that's why it's called like that. It's the soundness, So I'm wishing to all you the very soundness of mind, soundness of the mindset. I'm going to come later on today and give a more official explanation of this, but we're going to look at the hidden treasure. So even the word Hester, which means hidden, okay, it's all about God, because God is talking about I'm hiding, because that's the only book that the name of God does not appear. So guess who is hiding? God is hiding, because his name does not appear in the entire book. In all the other books of the Bible, the name of God appears. But this is the only book in the Bible when the name of God is not mentioned. So when it says Esther, we think he's talking about the girl, but he's talking about himself, that he is hiding. He's talking about his functions. He does everything in the background. The beauty of his hidden ways. So he's talking about himself, but in the whole book you don't get to hear his name, but he's doing everything behind the scenes, He's the director and the running everything. And he is telling you what he's doing in this book. I'm hiding. That's why he called it Hester. So God is talking about his functions. Okay, so that's what I find amazing, that even in that book, a lot of people think that but he's telling you, I'm hiding. So he's doing his function. He hides. That's how he mostly does everything. In the background, you don't even see it, but he's running everything. So that's a book to tell you about the beauty of the hidden ways of the Lord. Okay, so yours right then and there. A lot of people don't even tell you that. So when you go know about the function, because you know the soundness, that's how you're going to take a look at things, okay? So I'm wishing you that right now. I'm going to get into this some more later on after the party's over later on tonight. But I thought at the beginning of the day. So this is the first hidden thing. So understand, God is talking about himself, but he's talking about his hidden functionality, which is the biggest functionality he does in the Bible, and he does in the whole world, because he runs everything behind the scenes, and those are the beauties of his ways. Now we're going to be looking back, when I get back, into the meanings of the names of Hadassah. That's the real name of Esther. She was called hidden, because Mordecai, I want to call it, but the meaning of Mordecai, of Ahasuerus, the king, and the meaning of Haman. And we're going to combine it together and understand, get a beautiful message later on tonight. But I thought I'll just get you a little, peek of that. So have a great and wonderful PURIM season that we're celebrating this wonderful festive event. I'm about to have my big play right now with my son. So I'm going to let you go. But I'll see you in a little short while. Let me just play a little background going away music, I guess. Pow goes the powerhouse, and the COVID-19-MAN has come to deliver you from the empty land, from the ones who have been silenced, to the promised land of the ALEF-BET, which is the original place for the soul of a man, where he can now get his jubilee and abide safe like he's never been, in the power of the Father, in the powerhouse, cause that's what Word Tech Trick, the Tech, he's In the ALEF-BET we're connected. Word electric, double electric. In the powerhouse we're connected. Choosing the Torah where it is, that's right. Whether you like it or not, I just don't give a damn. Cause in this thing, the end is gonna be for sure. It's got a date before the song began to score. This ain't no lie, we about to fly. Cause in the truth, there's nothing that can be denied. Is the COVID-19 man is hooking you up to the ALEF-BET, to the powerhouse, with you waving. The COVID-19 man is gonna hook you up. Cause that's what word electric, double electric. In the ALEF-BET we're connected. Word electric, double electric. To no one else I'm genuflecting. Word electric, double electric. To the powerhouse I'm connected. And then I want to get your power back. Cause you were fighting there. The powerhouse not scared. You won't be silenced. Nobody can touch what you were fighting there. Gets to cut the masking back of lies. The righteous now they cries. Cause the COVID-19 man is gonna hook you up to the powerhouse. Leave the power show. Ride this mule around. Welcome to HGTV 28, Adabarim TV 28, Torah Volt 613. Once again, you're welcome. And hello again, my fellow Tabarians, my ALEF-BETionaires, Cellionaires, everything that you are in the ALEF-BET. It's good to enjoy this PURIM season with you. You know, this whole week was enjoyment for that. You know, the reversal of fortune. You know, when God does what he wants to do in spite of what we think we can do, that's wonderful. And so we're going to look a little bit about the book of Esther. I talked to you a little earlier before my family came. I'm going to share a little bit of what happened. Yeah, hey, Rosa, yes, I enjoy my family. I enjoy company with my family. It's good to see you, Andy. Good to see you, Rosa. Yeah, so I have a nice message for you. I think you will be built up in, you know, in the ALEF-BET with it, you know, in the heart of the Father, and that's the main thing. So I'm here to share with you. All right, let me see here how we're doing. Okay, let me make sure that there's not an echo going on, because I have to be careful of this these days. I think there's an echo in my system here, and I have to make sure it's not happening. But in any case, I think I'm looking good. So 1, 2, 3 testing. Yes, I see only the mic. That's what I need to see. Okay, perfect. All right, so happy, you know, Purim season for all of you. You know, the season of lots. God does what he wants in spite of what we think we're gonna get away with. That. And so this is a very amazing book, by the way. So because the meaning is all about meaning. You know, you will enjoy the mindset of the maker. There's so much. This book is full and packed with meaningfulness. So I'm going to unravel the name of the characters, what's hidden behind them, and what God uses, you know, to perpetuate his mindset. Very beautiful narration here. So let me take you to, no further ado, let me take you to one of my usual screen that I go to. All right, let me go here. So, how we doing? I'm a little dressed up today because, you know, my son came with his girlfriend, and his mom came, and his big brother came. So it was a big family gathering here. And I was able to set it up, you know, the green screen. I had to set it up right on the corner where the closet is. So now it's not anybody's ways. So in the corner where the closet is, I put like a little round screen like that, green screen round, and it worked perfect. So it wasn't anybody's way. Next time when we get together with you, Andy, and Rosa, and Brian, you know, when we can get together, how you get to see what I'm talking about. It's perfect. I don't think I have to be even moving it from there. So it worked out perfect. At least I found a spot that, you know, it's not in anybody's way. So people go to the bathroom and go to the kitchen, and you know, it's perfect, and it's plenty of room. So you'll see what I'm talking about. But so today I did part of the message in there, but let me share what happened earlier. You know, a little bit of what happened when my family came here. We take you to the cinema for that. Okay, we're doing okay here. Yeah, let me make sure. I gotta be checking on the sound here, we guys. Okay, now let me take you to the cinema so you can enjoy a little bit of the about 5 minutes of the birthday party here. Let me see.
Hey.
You guys finished your video you have?
Yeah, I turned it into a museum and everything.
Oh, yeah?
You want to see it? Come back.
Oh.
I also sent it to Lulu through Twitter. Apparently, the link. Oh.
No, it's done.
So now I just have papers for it.
Stop, you.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You try yourself.
He's gonna knock out.
Too much drama, Nemo.
I just don't really know what to do for that class now. Because
That's the big thing.
that was the big thing.
Yeah, it's pretty early. That you
And like the concerts this week. And then we saw the week 10. I was like, hopefully he's
I wish I could have a candle, you know, we don't have a candle, you know, but we got plans for everybody.
Woo!
This is plan from Soundness. And so you like the caramels in the bottom. So, yeah, you can pass them out.
no, you guys It's so clean.
You got some arts.
Work.
And sing happy birthday to el campeón. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear baby Lito. Happy birthday to you. Ya queremos pastel
For fun.
ya queremos pastel
For fun.
aunque sea un pedacito, pero queremos pastel. Okay, happy birthday, son.
Thank you.
Alright.
It was same plan.
But the bottom is the caramel, so you gotta kind of cook in there. Yeah, that's the plan over there.
Did
Yeah.
you find one?
I got one.
Here.
I'll try this one before. Good.
No.
Caramel's in the bottom. Alright, that's everybody here. Let me put around. And big brother here. Alright. You're enjoying the flan right now. And let's see what we have here.
This is interesting.
This is a little expensive, so this is both birthday and graduation.
Oh. Okay.
Expensive.
Save it.
There's the camera.
Yeah, camera's rolling over there.
Who's
Oh, okay. It's quite good. Oh.
Yeah, they're good. I like them.
a matching card?
Your new car's outside. Thank you, Dan.
No?
Oh. This is nice. What is it? Oh, is it a chain? Or is it a...
It's like Cartier paper clip necklace.
Cartier?
Cartier.
Very nice.
You going 14 karat?
Who wants to put it on me?
Yeah, there they go. There they go. The honors.
This looks sick.
Not at all. Bang. Woo!
Does it look big though, or does it look
No, it looks
It
good.
is.
It's like from like
Perfect.
an inch from your shirt line.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is cool.
All right.
Let me
Thank
see.
you, Dad.
Cartier, good brand.
No, yeah.
Let me see. Take a picture.
No, no. It's not all about you anymore.
All right, so here we go. That was a little clip, a 5-minute clip. So a little bit of stuff will happen. You know, we got to sit down and watch a little bit of the COVID-19-MAN. Maria hadn't seen any of those programs yet, so she was kind of, intrigued by it a little bit. You know, even my Chami had seen him already. She was telling me, like, I look like an anchor man, and then they finally got to see me doing one of these shows. So we enjoy a little bit of that. So it was a little bit of a variety, so it was kind of nice. So yeah, so he enjoyed his little necklace, I think. You know, it's a nice Cartier necklace that he's gonna be wearing from now until his graduation, because I think his graduation is not gonna be in school. I think it's gonna be indoor somehow. We'll see. Still up in the air, but we'll see. But it was good to see my son. I hadn't seen him for a while. He's looking good. You know, he's doing good in school and everything. So, you know, so I got to see the dog too. I hadn't seen Nemo. So that was kind of nice. The dog's in good spirits. Yeah. And so that was very good. So I was very encouraged by it. So today, you know, we're looking at this Purim. So the reversal of fate, of how things work. And it's a very interesting book, because a lot of people say that God is not, that's the only book in the Bible, you know, the Tanakh and the Torah, that the name of God is not mentioned. Okay? But it's not that, it's just that, because in the Bible you gotta understand things by functionality and sense making is what God is into. Okay, so when he tells you something, he's talking about himself. The word Esther means hiding or hidden, hiding. That's what it means. It doesn't mean star. A lot of people translate it into mean star or estrellas. Esther is Hester in Hebrew, which means to be hidden. God is saying, I'm playing peekaboo here. I'm hiding. So he's saying that this is what I do most of the time. And this is the beauty of how I run everything. I hide behind everything, you know. Like the green screen that is behind me, you don't get to see it. But because it's hiding, you know, it allows everything else for me to blend with my background and everything. So God is like this green screen that I'm using, you know, to enable me to blend with everything, you know, in my surroundings, you know, and I get to explain this further here. So you can understand that the word Esther is not really talking about a girl, it's talking about God. The meaning is hiding. Who is hiding? God, because you don't see his name in there. So God is talking about himself. I'm here, but you're not going to see me. I'm hiding. So the name Esther means hiding. So the whole book is about God hiding and how he runs everything behind the scenes. So we'll fall in love with his hidden ways of how he does everything, you know, and how he causes his people to shine, you know, because he's just like a big daddy that's in love with his children. He wants to see them, you know, come up ahead, you know, in all circumstances. So that's why we get to see how God shines in his hidden ways, you know. And so that's what the word Hester means. So you'll get into a little more in depth here. So I'm going to share the rest of it with you. And let me go to this screen. This was recorded earlier here in my living room. After, as soon as they left, I did it with the screen that I have set up in the living room right now. So you get to see that screen goes on and off because it's not quite calibrated yet as the one that I have in my bedroom here that I'm using right now. But you'll get to enjoy it anyhow. So let me put it for you. And let me take you there. All right, I think it's in this one right here. All right, my fellow Liberians. I'm working here from my house right now. About 6 something right now. I'm working in the living room. So I have my whole family came to see me because we're celebrating Gabriel's 23rd birthday. He's graduating this year in June from the Film and Video Institute. His specialty here at the UC Riverside. So we're talking about all this arrangements and everything that was going to happen. We had a good time here. All right, so as I was talking earlier, I decided to do the rest of the stuff here. So I'm testing my screen here in the back. It looks like everything is okay. All right. So, not bad. Let me see. Seems to be recording pretty good. All right. Since we're commanded in Psalm 44, verse 8, to brag about God all day long, and believe me, I can do that. With the insights I'm getting in the Torah now, so the whole book of Torah to me is like an Esther. You know, there's so many hidden secrets there, especially if you're dealing with the alphabet, ALEF-BET. You know, and since each letter, God defines it as something functional, not just phonetic. You know, but it's not just the sound, but the sound teaching, the sound meaning. You know, the sound mind that it tries to give you. Okay, so that you will not be fooled by anybody else. So there's 2 ways of learning the alphabet, I've been saying. One is to learn the sound of the alphabet, or to learn a sound alphabet. You know, the sound is just the noise. But to know a sound alphabet, that means you have sense making. You have meaningfulness. You have stability. You have something firm and solid. So it's an amazing way in which this word can mean too many different things. Just like I was teaching you the other day about a room, you know, how it means naked in Genesis 2:25, but just a little bit the next verse in Genesis 3:1, which follows the next that follows, then talks about that the serpent was the most naked. Now it's translated as subtle. But these are 2 words that sound the same, but they can have 2 different meanings. Depends how you use it. And it is used in several parts in the Bible as prudent, as wise. So that's why, but it's the same word, spelled the same way, Arum, which means naked. That's what it says in the last verse of chapter 2 of Genesis, and in the first verse of chapter 3:1, it's all the same word, but it has a different connotation. Just like the word sound and sound. Depends how you use it, you see. And that's why the title of this message I was sharing earlier, you know, when I started this afternoon, you know, how sound reigns supreme when soundness is absent. So in the absence of soundness, you know, sound reigns supreme. So soundness means that you know something that makes sense, something that makes sense making, something that is solid, something that is empirically proven and is not shaken really easy, something that is firm and solid. But sound is just a noise. So that's how you can have a noise, have a sound mind, and the whole idea with God is that He wants you to have a sound mindset. Okay? Not just hear the sound of things and go with the noise, but to have a sound mindset to make sense of everything that's being said. And that's how you move in this world. Because sound is your only guide. Sound is just the monument of soundness. Soundness is the real thing you want. You want to have something solid with full of meaning. Okay, that's why there's a saying. Some people say that Shakespeare said it. I don't know who said it, but it says, life is a tale full of sound. Life is a tale told by an idiot. That's what it said. Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Okay, let me repeat again. So when they say life is a tale told by an idiot, you know, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Some people say that Shakespeare said, other people say other people said it, but I'm not looking it up right now, but the fact is, that's the sound I'm talking about. It's just noise with no meaning. But you need, the Torah teaches you to go into the alphabet to get a sound mind, to get in the sound mindset of God. Because he says things and every letter points back to the alphabet, and the alphabet means Father. Okay, so that's how everything is hidden. That's why to me the whole book of the Bible, not just that book of Esther. The book of Esther means hidden because it's Hester, which is Hebrew for hidden. Okay, so just because the only one that is hidden in there is really God. Everybody's being displayed. The girl named Esther is not hidden. You can see the whole. She's the main protagonist. She's the main person standing out. So she's not hidden. So to whom it is true, the word hidden there, because that's the name Esther. That's what it means. It's true about God because His name does not appear in that book. So He is just like the screen, the green screen that I have in me. So it depends on the light. You know, if I get close, it disappears. You see, if I get too excited, I get close, so it appears again. So you can see there's a green light that I'm using here, and from time to time, because it's not well adjusted yet, you will see it come back and forth. But God is like that green screen that most people use to make themselves look good and blend with everything else, will blend with the circumstances, or blend with a nice observatory, because I'm observer of the Torah. That's why I put an observatory here, to get my drift. Observatory, I observe the Torah. So that's why I love the pictures of the observatory, because, you know, it kind of words, I like the play of words in there, just like I'm saying sound, and a sound mind, and there's sound for noise. So this is the same way, Arun, naked, and Arum also means prudent. So that's kind of things are in the Bible, and that's the whole idea of getting into studying the Bible, because you can see, you know, how God hides. So behind every letter, it's not just in the book of Esther. In the book of Esther, his regular names are not mentioned, you know, but the fact that he calls it Esther, that means who is hidden? The only one that's hidden there is just him. His name is not appeared. So the whole book is about him, how he loves to hide, and that's how it is with love. The people are in love. They love to do the hide and seek, because the more you seek your lover, the more you show how much you want to be with her, or you want to be with the next one, you know, that you love more than everything else. You seek the company, you know. You don't want to get away from you, so you're always in search of her. So like God likes to place this to see, you know, to do a peekaboo here and there. The peekaboo, I'm here, you know, as you're searching for Him. This is the game lovers play. And so if you're in love with the Word of God, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna be searching each letter. Okay, you understand? And in the whole Tanakh, biblically speaking, I understand that it's 8,800 words of the Hebrew biblical words. You know, and if you know about 10% of that, you more or less can understand the Bible. But it's 8,800. Other languages have way more. English has way more. Spanish has a lot of them. You know, but that's it. For the biblical Hebrew, it's only 8,800. Hey, the number of beginnings. Because that's the language that gave birth to everything. Think about it. So 8,800 words for the. But God loves to hide what He's planning to do, the meaning of people's name. And so when I read the Torah, it's to get into the meaning, into the function of each letter. And that is the difference. So that's what we're looking at in the book of, here in the book of Esther. You know, we're reading it, and we're coming up across the different names of people. So already you can see by the word Esther, it means hidden. And her real name was, you know, Hadassah. You know, Hadassah means, I believe it means myrtle tree. Okay? So what does the myrtle tree have in common with what I'm doing right now? It has green leaves, right? Hey, my green screen here, you know, hides so that everything else looks good for me. So, but that was her real name, Hadassah. But then when she goes in there, she was given the name Esther, or hidden, okay, which identify also with Ishtar, the god that the Persians used to. So it was a very interesting play on words in there, you know. So you got to get into the meaning of things, you know, from your own country. Solely of the king Ahasuerus. Ahasuerus, that's another thing I want to give you the meaning of that name right now. You know, they would have captured everything, but not everybody's into the meaning. People are only into the sound, and that's how you get lost. Because you got to see the letters from the original Hebrew, and then you will know the meaning of what's going on and how God is running everything behind. And that's the beautiful thing. Then you're with one mindset with your Maker, because you rejoice to see how He puts things together. All right, and then He loves to be there with you. And so as it says, let me see if I can. From time to time, you're going to see me, the screen going different colors here, but that's fine because I'm talking about hidden and hiding today, so that's okay if it works that way. I don't care because it somehow works along with what I'm trying to say here. All right, let me put the verse that I want to share here. Let's see. Okay, let me choose that. Yeah, Psalm 44, verse 8. Yeah. In God we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever. Okay? In God we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever. I'm going to sing this one, So in Love, So in Love. I have loved when I'm in around as you sweetly speak to me. I have loved 'cause I have found, and in you my heart is free. I'm in love. So, that's the song there. We fulfill that little command in there, you know. In God we boast all the day long and praise thy name forever. Selah. Think on this. Beautiful, beautiful. Alright, let me go to the book of Esther. Let me go to the hidden. The only book where God says, I'm hiding. Peekaboo. The other name that they could be calling, if you guys, you can call that the book of the incognito. I mean, somebody's hiding. So, you know, if you were to translate in English, you know, she would have been called incognito. to say that I'm hiding, you know, or something like that. So, but that's the meaning of it. Some people have come to call that Esther like a star, you know, estrella sounds close to that in Spanish. But nonetheless, that's not really the meaning. Is in Hebrew. When you get to Hebrew, then Hester, then you know that's hidden. And so, who is hidden? Only God was the only one that's hiding. So the whole book is about God, because God is about the functioning of things. Since He is the maker of all things, He wants to make sure that that they function. The word tub means functionality. Everything created inherits functionality. Everything was made to do a certain function. A car was made to take people around. A toothpick was made to remove things, you know, inside your little dentures underneath your little tooth. Everything has its own function. Everything inherits a function. And so that's why God says tub, that means you function for where you were made. This is tub, that means you're functional for that. So everything inherits a function. Understand? That's why everything was made, God said, okay, you are working. You inherit your function. You get to do what I made you for. You know, the day was supposed to bring light. You're functioning. You're good. The light was to illuminate. You're functioning. You know, so as long as you inherit your function, that's the word tub. Okay, which is numerical value of 17. So you begin to understand God deals with functionality. That's what everything inherits. Not just the sound. Okay, but when people just want to hear the sound and not want to see how they function, if it lines up, it's not just the sound, but does it line up with what's the functionality? You're supposed to represent something, make sure you're doing it. You know, you're supposed to be light, you're supposed to be illuminating. So if you call yourself light, but you don't give any illumination, then you're not functioning. Okay, so God doesn't care that you have the sound of light. He wants to know that you're giving the light. Okay, otherwise you can have the sound, but the fact that no light emanates from you, then you're not it, because you're not functioning. Everything that was made inherits a function. Okay, a car has supposed to be taking you places. What's the point of buying a car so you're gonna be pushing it all around? Then that's not a car. You're acting like a car then. Okay, so something just because it has the shape of it like a car, but it doesn't take you places, doesn't do the function of a car, then it's not a car, because you have to take that job and act like a car pushing it around. So that's why God looks at everything from its function. Okay, so that's how to look at the ALEF-BET, to understand everything of how it functions. There's a name for it, but is there a behavior that reveals what that name stands for? And to give you a sample of that, before we get into looking at the different words, because we're going to look at, let me get into Esther already, just to be ready to prepare you there. Esther chapter 1, and we're going to look at the first name here. Let's see, chapter 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. We're going to look at that one. Okay, so I'm going to put it in the Hebrew thing so we can look at, we're going to point to it, what the word in Hebrew is. Ahasuerus, okay? So that, we'll get back to that name in a little while. Okay, it has quite a long name. Let's start with an Aleph. Then Ahet. Ahet is for a wall or defense city. Okay? And then he has, after that he has the Shin. The Shin is for assimilation or tightly holding onto, or chewing something, because it's the teeth. And then he has Ahashu. Okay, and he has so two different ways. So he has that, and he has the Ashu El. Okay, and Okay, has the resh too. Has the resh, which means the head, or the reshit, or the female head, the wisdom. There's a lot of wisdom in this one, so I like to think of the resh of the reshit in here. Or the mindset, I used to call it. Whenever the resh is, it means like a mindset, or head, thoughtfulness. All that to do with the leading of the heads. So there's a strong defense city assimilating the head's adherents. Okay? There's a strong or walled up or well defense city that assimilates or eats the mindset's adherents. Okay? Where can you find a place like that? It's like a strong walled place, well protected, and the people in there are assimilating or taking in, the mindset's adherents, the thing that you need to adhere to. That's like a classroom, like a big school. That's, especially school nowadays, because they're protected against people going there to invade them. They have a fence. The classroom themselves are full walls, then that is impenetrable. And inside of there, the teacher is giving them the mindset of the lessons that they need to. And the students there are assimilating the mindset of the adherents, for the lessons of that day. So think of Ahasuerus as a big school, because that's the meaning of his name. A place where you are learning something. The strong, well-protected area, that assimilates or eats up the mindsets, adherence. That's each letter. That's what it's spelling. So you understand? So this is a lesson that God is teaching us here. So in this lesson, we're going to learn to judge words by their function. Somebody's saying something, but want to see if it functions, then it is what it says. If it doesn't function, then it's not. It's just a lie. Because that's how politicians get away with it, because they just give you sound. That's like supposedly Shakespeare, I don't know who said it, but that's why it says, life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. That's when you only hear people say things, but they don't deliver. And that's what politicians are all about, just sound and noise. And they don't deliver. But let me take this Ahasuerus, that's the meaning of that. And let me use it in the world before I get into the rest of the book here. Okay? And Ahasuerus was that kind of a person. If you read the whole book of Esther, whenever something did not go right, he consulted. He talked to his captains and to his leaders that he had there. He asked them for the suggestions, and he assimilated. So his name is interesting because he lived up to that. He was kind of the guy that listened to counsel. So when something happened, he listened to his people and he followed the counsel. That's why he listened to Haman, because he thought he got good counsel. We'll explain what that name says in a minute. So he listens to that, and eventually ends up being to the right, person learning of the Torah, which is Mordecai. He was the right student for the Torah to listen to it. But he was what kind of guy? He was a student of good counsel. That was actually what it was. So that's his name. It's a strong. It stands for a classroom where you're learning, the mindset of those that lead and adhering to those. Because after he will listen to them, then he will say, yeah, okay, make that a law, make that an adherence. So he will listen to them. So the whole thing describes the way he behaved. He was a strong person, in a strong city, that assimilated the council, the mindset of the counselors, and then it made it an adherence. That's exactly the meaning of his name. And that's exactly what he does to the whole book. Read it, you say. So that's the beautiful thing when you know the ALEF-BET, you see? And that's what I'm teaching you. To get into that so you will be in the mind of the director, So you see, when you know that, then you enjoy the mindset of the director that says, I'm hiding in here, but I'm reading the whole thing. So the names are fantastic. So Ahasuerus, that's what it means. Okay, it's like a school classroom where people are learning to assimilate. And that, in his case, was a kingdom. And we're looking at it that God left as a classroom for all of us to learn from it. Okay, one thing we need to learn from it is, for example, I've been telling you people, like there's a guy that wrote a book in 2011, I believe, called a guy named Richard Panic. Wrote a book called The 4% Universe. Okay, and I was reading commentaries on it this week, and somebody saying commentaries, okay, 4% theory and the 96% just bunch of stories. That's another way this guy that was commenting on that was he was giving his view side on it. So, but basically what the book says, that's only 4% of the universe is measurable, is physical, and we have measuring tools to measure them. But the rest of it, is dark matter and dark energy. and we don't know anything. Now we are in the dark. Okay? Now, what's so bad about some science and a lot of scientists lining up and going along with that? You know, when you call yourself science, the word is knowledge. Science means knowledge, that you know stuff. Okay? So in order to take the title of knowledge and call yourself a science, you know, that I know something, you should at least know 51% of your subject. You know what I'm saying? At least 51%. Okay? So so that you know that you can, you know, you can say, okay, well, I know 51% of it, so yeah, I'm mostly knowledgeable in that area. And that's what knowledge means. Science means knowledge. But when you write a book and you join the guy that writes the book, you know, and a lot of scientists have done that, call 4%, and the rest is just darkness that we don't know. That means we're in the dark about 96% of the universe, but we begin to know about only 4%, and still you haven't gone to the outer corners of the universe. You haven't traveled there yet. So even of that 4% physical universe, you don't even know 1% you haven't even visited yet. So you're really ignorant. So when you write a book, you know, you call yourself knowledge, and you say, I am knowledge, but I only have 1% knowledge. So how can you be expert? How can you be science? You do not qualify to be science because you committed suicide. You say, I have the name of science or knowledge, but I do not function like that. I don't have the knowledge. Therefore, you're not science. So science committed suicide to me in 2011 with that guy, Richard Panic, you know, wrote that booklet. So that dick got it in panic. They should have panicked because that dick, you know, committed suicide for all science. And how do you know that science has committed suicide? Because they themselves don't follow. Okay? You know, especially this time in point. Look at the one leading the vaccines right now. Is it a scientist who's leading the vaccines right now? That got great experience, you know, in going to school and learning all these things, you know, and graduated with a science degree. Because since science committed suicide in 2011, it doesn't matter. Science doesn't exist. That's why they can just put somebody that just makes money and knows how to flash green here and there, you know, and buys everybody here and there. And the only thing he's learned is how to put vaccines on his Microsoft computer. And from that, he wants to, you know, he made a killing with that money-wise. And he wants to do the same thing, you know, with the people. But not just money-wise, but actually physically. Okay? Because he doesn't know what he's doing. So, but it's perfectly fine because science does not exist. He committed suicide in 2011. When somebody calls himself knowledge and only has 1% of knowledge, so is not entitled to that word of science. He's an ignoramus because you only 99% in the dark, 96% in the dark. You do not qualify to call yourself by the name of science. So you understand what I'm saying? So that's what the ALEF-BET will teach you. That you have to look at a word not just for the sound, but if it sounds, if it's of a sound mind, if it makes sense, if it matches what it says. You know, so if science knew about 51% of the universe and knew, you know, then they will be entitled to be called themselves scientists because, you know, they have a lot of advantages, but you cannot call yourself that. Otherwise, you're inventing theories. You know, and theories, that's what it means. Theos means God, theos, and re, so it's God's stories. So everything is just a story. It's a God story. So they'll invent God stories here and there, theories here and there, that until now the theory comes out better than wipes out the first one and so forth. So that's how we have with science. So that's why science doesn't exist, and the people that tell you they follow science, they're not. Because science have committed suicide in 2009 when they wrote that book and admitted that they're not scientists, they're ignorant. Because of the word scientist being knowledgeable ones. So they're not that. So you understand? That's what this whole thing is about. To make you see that you are not to follow the sound. So, in the absence of soundness, which means solid understanding, empirical be proved, things that are stable and sustainable, you know. In the absence of that, sound reigns supreme. Just talking about something because everybody's ignorant. The one that just talks the more proud about it, you know. The one that just says it with the more, you know, that's the one that's going to be believed. Okay, so you understand? So this is what has happened in our time. Now we have taken stuff like that. So Bill Gates is not a scientist. And the fact that they assign him to do a killing in the making of those things. And he has proven that he brought death to a lot of people in India. He brought death to other people in other countries that have tried his vaccines. And on top of that, they bring him here. Okay? So the thing is, because you yourself have killed the ALEF-BET. Because the worst crime you can commit is to commit a crime against the ALEF-BET and to present it all broken up like that. When you don't match the name of it with its functionality, then you're not behaving. God tells you how to take care of the words. He made something and he made sure that it did the function. And then he said, okay, it's functioning. And so therefore, that's right to call it a cow. It's right to call it a horse because it matches its functionality. It's not just the name. Otherwise, just made it out of plastic. Then just because it looks like it. And that's how it is in this world. So whenever you take on the alphabet, so you only get the sound, but do not make sure that the sound matches with the function of what it's supposed to do, then you have broken that. You have aborted. You have destroyed the usefulness of the alphabet. And what you deserve for that is the politicians that you get nowadays. That they tell you they're doing something with the name of science, but science doesn't exist. And they themselves don't believe in it because they hire somebody obvious, like to tell them what to do and to tell them how to cultivate the earth. Now he's going to be giving you the food that he was going. So who is this guy? He's nothing. But that's exactly, science is nothing. So that's why this guy can lead it. Because you're such fools, and you need to repent from using the ALEF-BET that way. And get back to the Torah and get back to the way of using the way that God uses it. Because otherwise these people are going to wipe you out for your crime of not ALEF-BETicizing. Making sure that every word lives up to its meaning. Because that's our duty when we get the alphabet. That's what we're supposed to do. Okay? So, wow. This is a lot of a big, heavy subject, But this is something that is being heavy on my heart. And so now that we're here like this, for this day of Purim, you understand what's going on? We have all these things going on. So now let's get back to the characters in this movie. Yeah, I saw the movie too. I saw a movie which I didn't like. It was made by some Christians, and they took liberties. Because in the book, it's not mentioned the name of God, but in the movie they talk about God all the time. So that was not true to the meaning of the title of the book. But the actors were pretty good, but I forgot. But it was made by a Christian production, and they did not do justice to the book itself. Because the whole idea of the book is for the name of God not to be mentioned. That's why he calls it hidden. But they mention it here, they pray here, they complain to God. So they messed up the meaning because, of course, they don't know the Hebrew. So they don't understand what the whole idea was God trying to convey. But overall, that's the only one I got to see today earlier. In any case, but let's look at the characters here now. So we have Ahasuerus. I already explained the meaning of Ahasuerus, right? That means a strong, walled up city. It's like a classroom. You're assimilating the lessons of the heads in there, the leaders, and then making that an adherence. And adhering to that because that's how he worked out things. So then he has leaders like Haman. Okay, we're going to look at Haman here. I think he's introduced in chapter 3. Let me go to chapter 3. Okay. Yeah, chapter 3, here we go. After these things, because there was a big party there. It says, after these things, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman. Okay, now here we go to this guy, Haman. Haman is made out of the letter He. Okay, that's the little guy, right? His accent. Haman, He means the letter for breath, the letter for liveliness, the letter for activating, the letter for animating. Making sure that the job gets done. And so, in a sense, he had that capacity. He was chosen to be the king's right-hand man. So he could get things done. He could be a mover and a shaker. If you're He, you are animated, you have breath. Okay, so he was a mover and a shaker. So it was He, and the name, okay, Ha-man, and he's just saying like a man, but it's like Mem, that's for solutions, and Noon is for generation. It's that's the word for generation. So the way of saying is he was the actuator or the activator of the solutions generated. Okay, solutions were generated and he will act upon them. Okay, the king decrees something and he will be the one to make it happen. He will go and deliver and then he will suggest something, and he will be the man to make it happen. He will be the man. So it's interesting because the word house in Hebrew means da. Hey, like dabarim. I told you dabarim means words or things, right? And that's what the book of Deuteronomy is dabarim. But the way it's in Hebrew is ha dabarim, and ha means the, the, like it's saying that the words, the things. Like people say ha Mashiach, the Mashiach. Ha. So ha means the. So the fact that he has Haman, he was like the man. Man, I am the man. So think of this character. Haman is one guy that was so, thinking that he was the man. Like, you're the man. Like the guy was saying here, hey, you're the man. So Haman is saying like, hey, you're the man. You get things done. You're on top of things. So he was very, very arrogant because of that position. He went to his head. He thought he could do anything. He wanted everybody to just bow down to him. And that's something that Mordecai would not do, because a Jew does not bow down to any but God. Okay? And so this is one of the characters that we see there. Okay? Now, Mordecai. Now, interesting here. Let me see here. Let's see if we can find Mordecai. It's interesting. His name is fabulous name. So I told you the difference here. So he's the activator of the solutions generated. That's the name. So he was the man, because he could get things done. So he felt Haman, Meshach. Hey, that's the man. So here we have the king, and he had this guy promoted, the man that was going to be doing everything, and he thought, I am the man. I am Haman. I am the guy that gets things done. So whenever Mordecai, we have Mordecai here in verse 3. Let's see here. Oh, verse 2. Okay, do it. Okay. Let's do it here. Esther 3:2. Let me see what we can see today. So Mordecai did not bow. Everybody else was bowing down to this. So here we have Mordecai. Now Mordecai, interesting. The name of Mordecai is made out of the mem. Starts with the mem for solutions. Then it follows. I believe, yeah. Then it follows with the resh. Okay, which is the head. And then it follows with the dalet. Okay, so it has mem, the resh, and the dalet. Okay, the mem are the solutions, the resh is the head or the reshit. I like to include it here because there's a woman involved in this whole book. It's a female book in here. So the reshit is in there. The reshit is the wisdom of God. It always represents wisdom. So the solutions is the mem. The reshit is the wisdom or the mindset, and then is the dalet. The dalet is the door for administration, systems, governance. Okay, the administration, and then is the next word after that, the kaf. Okay, and the kaf, the kaf is for the approved. It's for something that is approved because it represents the palms. It's tame, something is approved, something that you have mastered. Because, so you're approved. It's like the laying hands, it forms approval, but also the using of hands is that you have mastered something. So something that is approved, and then I believe it's yud at the end of that. Yeah, yud, to make it Mordecai. So yud is for work, or for the hand. It means for work. So I wrote it down here so to make it easy because I can read the whole thing. So Mordecai means the solutions of the head administration for the approved work. So it's the solutions of the mindset or the reshit or the wisdom administration for the approved work. Okay, Mordecai was the one that followed the Torah. He knew the Torah, and therefore he had the solutions of the mindset of God, for the administration of the work that's supposed to be the approved work. Okay, of the approved work, which is to know how to respect God and to know how to respect your fellow man. So he had the right solutions of the head. Okay, so he has solutions connected to the reshit. Okay, the wisdom of God. And notice that the reshit is found in him. There's a reshit, there's a resh in Mordecai, and there's a resh in Esther. Okay, so there's a resh in there too. They both have a resh. They both have the. So I'll get in a minute to talk to you about Esther. So far, this is Mordecai. So he is the solutions of the mindset's administration for the approved work, for the task that is approved. That's what his name means, each letter. Okay, so he was the right man for the job from the very beginning because he knew the solutions of the alphabet and how to take care of things and how to render, do reverence to God alone and to your fellow man, respect on the same level, but not to bow down. Nobody's supposed to bow down to him, and he's not supposed to bow down to anybody. Everybody bows down to God. That's what it comes down to. And so that was his name. So it's perfect, because he was instructed in the Torah. So he was the right leader to begin with, because he had the knowledge of the Torah. He had the knowledge of the wisdom of God, of the mindset. Now the next character we have Esther, right? Esther comes in afterwards, and her name Hadassah, which means myrtle tree, by the way. That's her real name. But when she goes in there, let me see if we can find her. Let me see, chapter 4. Perceive all that. What was that? Mordecai ran his clothes. Oh, Esther. Let me look at this one. Esther chapter 4, verse 4. Just to look at the name. So we're gonna. You guys know the story already, but I want you to learn the meaning of the names behind their names, because God is showing so much here. Because it's all about, having soundness in your speech, having a sound mind, not just the sound of something, to hear, but see that the function matches the sound, and then it's a real thing. Otherwise, it's not, and you don't have to fear at all. So even though Haman had the title of "I'm the man," but that's all he had. No solutions of the head or anything like that. Just the title, the man, and just rode on that fear of people. Didn't offer anything to people. It was an opportunistic bloodsucker. See what a politic, a tick. Many ticks, that's what politics means. So there's all these people that are into politics. A tick is an animal that just sucks the blood out of people. It's an opportunistic animal that just looks to see what he can be feeding himself. That's exactly what he was. And that's like most politicians, a lot of religious people as well. They'll teach everything just for the, see what they can get out, how they can fleece the people or get money out of them. And that's what one of the guys that we had in here. So he was not the right guy for the job. Okay, obviously. Now Esther, now we're looking at Esther here. Now Esther is made out of Aleph, okay, which means strong or powerful, and Samek, okay. The word S, what Samek? Samek means for protection or support, okay. So powerful support, and the word. Then you have the word tab, the last letter. Okay, tab is goal, or commitment, or contract. So all this has to do with the last letter tab. So she's got tab, and then he has resh at the end. So the meaning of her name, is a strong protector of the commitment of the head, or a strong protector of the goals of the mindset. Okay, so the strong protector of the goals or the commitment of the head. That was the name Hester means. That's what the strong, protector, because a supporter, the strong protector or supporter of the commitment or the goals or the targets, of the head or the mindset or the reshit or the wisdom. So she was lined up. She was a perfect student. Mordecai was the perfect teacher, because he had the solution. Like I say, Mordecai had the solutions of the head administration for the approved work, because he knew the Torah. Now Esther comes along, and what does her name means? A strong supporter, because that's each letter. A strong supporter of the goals of the head. So she was the perfect student, And one thing I found out about Esther, her name, Esther's mother was called Abihail. Well, my mom was Abigail. Almost there. It's like, instead of the hey, it's a G, but almost close enough. My mother's name is Abigail. She passed away, but in 2003. But my mother's name is Abigail. Esther's mother's was Abihail. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. You know, I had not paid attention to that before, but now that I read it this time, I saw it. I read it last night. So I say, wow, interesting. You know, so that's one of the things you always try to connect everything in there. And so Mordecai was her uncle, by the way. So it was her uncle, and he raised her. And so she was the perfect student because with that name, he was the perfect teacher because he had the solutions of the mindsets administration for the approved job, which is what the Torah teaches you how to run things. And here comes her name, Hester, you know, the way it is written with the Aleph, Samek, Tab, and Resh. She is a strong supporter, you know, the strong supporter or protector, you know, of the goals of the head or the commitments of the head, of the targets of the head. So Mordecai couldn't have a better student. She was so obedient to him. Okay, so what's the perfect? So the perfect teacher and the perfect student, you know, are the ones that win the day in this story. Okay, so in the Bible there's something called the Torah, you know, and the Torah is the teacher. It's teachings orderly regulating all humanity. That's what it comes down. That's the perfect way of understanding. Okay, and then there's something called the Talmud, you know, and the word Talmud has to do with student. You're a student. There's the teacher, the Torah is the teacher, and Talmud is the student. Okay, so here in this story, you know, this is how the people have survived. This is the hidden way. It tells with the name of Mordecai and with the name of Hester, it tells how the Jewish people have survived all this time with the use of the Torah and they being good Talmudists, good students. Because the word Torah means teacher, is the teacher, like Mordecai represents the Torah and Esther represents the Talmud. And that's how the Jewish people have managed to survive all this time. Because in the Talmud explains, you know, how to wrap the telling, you know, how to do all the little things that are not explained in the Torah. All the little traditions are kept in there. So a lot of things are kept because of that. So you got to understand. So that is hidden in that book too. There's a lot of wonderful things that are hidden in there. So Mordecai represents the Torah. He's the good teacher. And Esther represents the student, the good Talmudist. She is, and through all those things, that's because the whole book is about the survival of the Jewish people. How God has kept them going through the Torah and through the Talmud. That's what's being has been what that has kept them. So all of that stuff is revealed in the book of Esther. It's just a marvelous book. So there you have it. So I told you what Ahasuerus means, right? I had a strong, you know, well-protected room, well-protected city, you know, that assimilates the head's adherences. And that's what he did, the way he conducted his life, you know, and that also represents a classroom. So this is the whole story of what happened here in this book of God hiding himself. It's a whole lesson to teach us how to look at things, you know, to apprehend things and to learn not just to look at the sound of things, but to understand something of meaningfulness, okay? Get into the sense of it, okay? So at the end of the day, you know, we know what happened in the story. You read the story, the man was not the man. Because if you are not connected, like Mordecai, you the solutions to the Reshit, you know, the solutions of the head of the wisdom of God, and therefore you are equipped to do the work because those are the only people that get to be hired anyhow. Okay? Those are going to be always the only people for the job. And those students that follow those teachers are going to be there also reigning along. You know, Torah and the Talmud are going to be there reigning along together. You know, because the good student of the Torah will always get the job. The teachings orderly regulating all humanity, or teachings orderly regulating all hirelings, because every company has their little manual, which are teachings orderly regulating all humanity or all hirelings, the equivalent of what a Torah is, you know, and everybody that adheres to that, he becomes a good student, and they both share in the profits of the company. Okay, in that case here, in the profits of the spirit of Adonai, of the spirit of the Father, of the ALEF-BET. Okay, so I'm just giving you a little breakdown on this. You know, I wish I could go even longer, but I think I need to stop here because I gotta have to edit this. I'm gonna share a little bit of what happened in my son's party here. You know, it was a nice party that we had. He enjoyed himself, and so I'm gonna leave it at that. But this is something to understand. So this has been, you know, as far as I was concerned, to me, you know, because the way I look at it is on December 21st, That's when the COVID-19-MAN, the concept of the COVID-19-MAN became originally exactly 9 months old, when a baby is born. And that's the day when the eclipse, when was it, the star lined up again, they call it the Star of Bethlehem, whatever. But that same day, that's when 9 months completely, 280 days, okay? I believe that's how it is. You have 280 days. And now from that day until now, it's been 10 weeks. Today's 10 weeks. And today it's February 28, 2021. And it's also February 28 is my son's birthday. And I wanted to share today also the verse, which I'm going to read it right now. Because, I might as well share it. That's the book of Deuteronomy. Let me give it to you. And I will close with that. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Verse 28, because we have this program called Hadabarim TV 28. Okay, so I'm going to go to Hadabarim, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 28. Okay, to tell you what God does when you don't use the ALEF-BET that the way He does it. Then He destroys you just with the sound. Because you know the sound of the word, but you do not line him up with the meaning, nor are you trained to do it. Therefore, you don't know when people are messing with you. Like the case right now, people are not believing in science. Give you Bill Gates. I'm glad that Gates, because that shows to me that there's nothing of what they're telling you is true. Because they don't check to make sure that people live up to what they say. So it's just a tale. This is life. It's a tale, told by an idiot. In this case, the idiot is Bill Gates, because he doesn't even have a science title. Since 2011, since they say that you can still be a scientist only having 4% knowledge, they discredit themselves. They committed suicide. So might as well just have Bill Gates lead the whole pack. Might as well. So that's what's happening. And ignoramus is leading it, and he doesn't care. He was talking about it like he knows what he's saying. To me, it's like, what the heck? But that's what God says exactly here, Deuteronomy 28:28, because that's why I made this channel. There's 28,000 workers out there that do the broadcasting. It's an interesting thing how this 28 is manifested. 28,000 workers out there doing the broadcasting work of news and stuff like that. And only Hadabarim 28 is telling you, that you need to look for the soundness of words and not just the sound of it. Everybody else of the 28,000 out there just go for you to listen to the sound, because that they keep you all perplexed, and that's how they get to manipulate you. But when you know the soundness of things, then you understand what God is doing. Deuteronomy 28:28 says, the Lord shall smite thee. That means He's going to kill you. But in an interesting way. With madness. Okay? That's craziness. Okay? With madness. And with blindness. You won't be able to tell the difference what's going on. And astonishment. Of heart. So, madness, blindness, and astonishment. Okay? So, this is the way God destroys you. He destroys you with an MBA. Like a Master's of Business Administration. But this MBA is called madness, blindness, and astonishment. And it's done by people that do not live up to what they say they are. And to governors that are lying to you from day one. And they will continue to lie to you, because you still have not wisened up to know that when somebody gives a sound but it's not producing the function, he ain't that. He is nothing at all. They're just making everything go into nothing. Making everything turn into without form and void. All these gender changes. What is that? Nothing but people trying to destroy the meaning of things. Trying to destroy the usefulness of the alphabet. So everything that is happening right now is just an assault and an attack upon the alphabet and upon its true testimony. The sound does not match up with the functionality. And that's why the whole world is without form and voice, empty right now. And the people in it are trained to just go by the sound. So they think if they hear the word, they think they're going to have it. That's why you're being killed left and right, by people that do not live up to the word science, and all of that stuff that is happening right now. But thank God in the midst of this, in the 13 and the 14 And in the 15th day of Adar, because that's when on the 13th day, it was decreed by Haman that he was going to kill all the Jewish people. But that's when the things got turned around, you know. And then on those days became days of joy and celebration, because the Jews were delivered while Haman had to hang. Haman hang. He was no longer the man. He was the dead man, all right? Okay, so he hanging his sons and everybody, all right? And so everything that was, so, but that's how it is. To me, that's how it happened. To me, it's like, I do not follow the sound. I follow soundness of mind and soundness of the mindset of God, because that's really the only thing that matters, okay? So that's what you need to understand. Let me close with this verse here from Esther. I believe it's Esther 8:16. It's a good verse to remember. Esther chapter 8, verse 16. I thought something I was reading yesterday here. I thought it's a nice verse to end this. Okay, 8:16. So like I was saying, those days, and 14 is the day, of 14 is the numerical value of David. Interesting that I was given this name of David, because I like to dig into the scriptures to get all these nice treasures, these nuggets of understanding that makes you just live to praise his name and to praise the alphabet, and the alphabet that represents the Father. And so I'm just enjoying this moment and passing it to you. I hope that you have the greatest Purim of understanding, and understanding that only what is in the solutions for the mindset, which is the name of Mordecai, the solutions of Mordecai, you need to be like that. You need to be in the Torah so you can become the meaning of that Mordecai, because only those and good students of the Torah are going to be kept around. And those are the people that are not fooled by the sound. They have soundness of mind. They have a sound mindset. And while the rest of the world is fooled by an idiot like Bill Gates and all the other politicians, that are all around, Newsom, Cuomo, all these other ones that are all over the place, But it says in Esther 8:16, let me put it here. I go to the top. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. And in every province and in every city, whichsoever the king commanded, it was decreed all of that. So the Jews had light, So a title that I was thinking of giving it to this message today, but then I changed and I gave it the one it has right now, is but when the light was about to be extinguished, I became distinguished. Okay, understand what that means? So the light of the Jews was about to be extinguished by this guy that thought, I'm the man, I can run things, I am a mover and shaker. So I'm going to extinguish the light of the Jews. But no, that light became distinguished, because the way that the Torah is set up, that a word has to be honored only if the sound matches its functionality. That is never going to die. That is always going to be the cornerstone by which societies are built, by which constitutions are kept, by which any foundation, any corporation that really means business can run. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. You can take that to the bank. That's for sure. That's something that is empirically proven. And so the solutions of the Torah are as such. Okay? So the world right now, maybe is thinking otherwise. But to me, I have been delivered from that. Okay? To me, the alphabet that's been attacked inside of me has been restored to its proper level of expressing it or using it. And that's what I share is for you. And that's what I want for you this hour. So I hope this happy Purim opens up a lot of understanding to you. And you get into reading the word and getting to the alphabet and learning the meanings, so that you can get more into the mindset and abide in the mindset of your Maker. God bless you. All right. Let me close here. All right. Well, that was it, almost an hour long there that I did it out there. Most of all, it was good, and the put the green screen worked pretty good. Still have to calibrate the light and the blending over there, but most of it came out good. So I'm wishing a happy Purim to all of you. You know, glad you can join me today. I mean, you know, I had a celebration with my son. He enjoyed it. It was good to see him. He's in good health. Both of them are. You know, yeah. And so it's good to see everybody there. You know, enjoy a good time of fellowship there. Going over a lot of memories. And so that was kind of nice. And then we also had this Purim celebration to understand, you know, what's really going on in there. So, all right. So we're gonna deal more into the meaning of the sound of the alphabet and the sound alphabet. We're going to be talking more about that on Wednesday for the first week of March. See you on Wednesday. I believe that's going to be March the 3rd, so I'll see you then. Let me get out of here, got a nice commercial. All right. Let me see here. I think we can use this one.